Carm Capriato here, the Aftermarket Podcast guy. Now, I'm with Chuck Searles, the new president of AMI. Now, I know many of you have your industry credentials from AMI, not only in collision, but in mechanical. Now, if you're not aware of AMI's certifications, there are certifications and designations offered to the industry for management and service training. You may have your AAM designation, the Accredited Automotive Manager, or Master, AMAM, and you should be proud. Go behind the scenes with me and meet Chuck Searles and discover his background and what his plans are for leading AMI into the future. Find AMI at amionline.org. I'll put the link to AMI on the show notes page. AMI's mission is to identify, provide, and promote qualified business education for the success of the automotive service repair professional. Chuck's going to share his story on how he ended up in the automotive industry, and as president of AMI, he wants to increase AMI's presence on the service side of our industry. Hey, not sure how you listen to the podcast, but the majority of you do listen mobile, and I thank you. If you're not listening on a mobile device, download a free listening app at remarkableresults.biz/listen. There you're going to find links to Apple and Google Podcasts, among others. Enjoy the insights wherever you go. Hey, so glad to have NAPA Smart Signs as a sponsor. You know, Remarkable Results Radio is proud to partner with NAPA Auto Care in the upcoming 2021 NAPA Expo. Join NAPA in Las Vegas February 1st through the 4th, 2021, and discover the latest innovations in the auto care industry. This is an event you don't want to miss. Contact your NAPA store to learn more. Hey, surveys say most of you listen while you're on your commute or multitasking. Betcha I caught you doing that right now. Now, whichever way, I'm so glad you're here. That's how our influence grows.
Training, onboarding, everything costs money. It's an investment. If you have good people, invest in them. Train up.
Hey, once again, thanks for tuning in. Are you watching the new show, AftermarketWeekly.com? Hey, do you want to broaden your horizons and even feel smarter? Well, this live show, every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time, includes a tour and a guest host who joins me. Watch live on the website or on social media sites. Every episode is archived on the website at AftermarketWeekly.com. Go ahead, do some binging. Hey, we constantly are adding to the books page on the website. It's like almost every week. Now, remember, leaders are readers. And when a book is mentioned on the podcast, we deliberately post it on the books page. Go to remarkableresults.biz/books. Hey, find the key talking points with Chuck Searles at remarkableresults.biz/A585. Hey, a warm welcome to Chuck Searles, President AMI. Actually, Chuck, the new president of AMI.
Thank you. It's good to be here and talking with you, Carm.
Good for you. I have had the luxury of talking to Chuck a little earlier and finding out his pedigree. Wow, what a great pedigree. I mean, you are all about being a technician. You worked at dealerships, and now you're in charge of training in this incredible organization, Automotive Management Institute, and you're the guy that gets these accreditations out in our industry. And you know, the thing that I guess I'm excited about, Chuck, is that you came from the mechanical side of the industry. And although I know AMI does both collision and mechanical, I think you may just bring a greater focus on that.
I would agree. The outgoing president, Jeff Peavy, had a very strong background in collision. So when he took over and created the learning management system and a lot of the designations, it was focused heavily on collision. And I think AMI's presence is strong in the collision industry. And with Jeff leaving, I think one of the reasons that I'm here, honestly, is because I have a great deal of experience on the service side of things.
Well, great. And there's no doubt that I'm sure when the board got together and said, we need to find someone, obviously you landed right in their lap. And I'm not saying it was that easy, but the fact of the matter is because you had that mechanical background. How cool is that? You've carried and turned a wrench for quite a bit of your life.
And still do occasionally, believe it or not. So when I came to the end of my high school career, I really didn't have a bunch of direction. my father's a lifelong educator, and he said, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to teach? And I said, no. I said, the last thing I want to do is be a teacher. There's irony in that. But
by the way, this is a great story, so you all have to listen to this.
So I attended Universal Technical Institute, decided, hey, there's going to be a shortage of automotive technicians. I'm pretty good with my hands. I know my way around a car. I'll be okay. My focus was actually going to be in the heavy industry. I wanted to work on diesels, but no one wants to give a young kid with no experience practice time on a Road Ranger transmission or on a Detroit diesel engine. So I ended up going to work for a dealership in Fairbanks, Alaska. If you fast forward a few years, hired by Nissan, spent the majority of my time with that OE actually in training. And after the Nissan career ended, here I am, part of AMI and solidly in education.
And the irony of the story where your dad said, no, you're going to be an educator, is that you actually were an educator for, I believe it was a tech trainer for, was it Nissan? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Technical training instructor in Atlanta, Georgia, and up in Somerset, New Jersey. You bet.
And you were a subject matter expert. Now, what is that exactly?
The SME role in sales training is literally you're a vehicle expert, and you vet all of the training that goes to sales consultants out in the field when it comes to vehicle technologies, capabilities, and so on. So you test against the competition, you find strong points and weak points, and then help craft ways to sell against them.
So here you are at AMI. How long you been here?
Since the last day of August.
A very short amount of time, August, September. Here it is, almost the end of October. This year's going by faster than ever, even though we had this pandemic.
I never thought that staying at home for so long would still go by so fast.
It's going to be a year that we're going to remember and talk about. It's like, where were you when 9/11 hit? Where were you when Kennedy died? If you're old enough to remember that. And there are just so many monumental things, but this wasn't just one daily event. Where were you when the Challenger blew up, when we landed on the moon? Wow. Where were you those 8 or 9 months when COVID hit? Amazing. Well, anyway, you're here. What do you got planned? I mean, would you share some ideas on your vision?
Certainly. Our outgoing president, Jeff, he had a really strong background in the collision industry, and he's built some really great, solid relationships with Fiat Chrysler, with Honda, started some work with Nissan, and all that's on the collision side of things. So that's where most of AMI's business is these days, is collision side. But the certifications that we have and designations really fall to both sides of the industry. So accredited automotive manager or master accredited automotive manager, those fall to both sides of the spectrum. What I call service, the collision folks call mechanical. What I'd like to do is increase our presence in that side of the industry, show the value of what we do and these designations. I think one of the things that's really cool is you complete the training on AMI and it doesn't just stay in one place. So for example, if you work for OEM A and you complete all of their service training and you pick up and go to a different brand, all that training stays there with brand A. With AMI, it's portable. You can take it with you. One of the things that we're working on now are a couple new designations, and one is for service advisor and also shop foreman.
Well, those are excellent. One of the things that I think about AMI, let me give you a scenario. I'm a shop owner, and there's a family member getting ready to talk about succession planning. What a tool that AMI could be for that successor.
Absolutely. And the focus when you're a boss, they always say a good leader is always training his or her replacement. Always. And I think we talked about this too. There are two things that you remember for sure in your professional careers, and two names you will never, ever forget. The first is the best boss you ever had. And the second is the worst boss you ever had. You'll never forget. Training and skill transfer really help you be the best boss you can be.
It's a succession for a family member, but if you also have an internal candidate, to me, any part of a plan that would look to succeed the business would be a trip through AMI. And, we want to see you get your AAM and then your AM, because to me, that shows your commitment to learning the management side of this business. I mean, you've got some of the best trainers, world-class trainers that have classes to offer. Of course, they have their own classes. Yes, of course, if we weren't in a pandemic, you'd be going out and getting some training. So you talk about proving of a base case and the power of AMI's learning management system through a pandemic. I mean, oh my God, it's like you're the flavor of the day.
Jeff did a really great job, along with Brett and Tony, setting this thing up. And honestly, prior to, I think, maybe 2016, AMI was literally just hands-on training. It was accreditation through hands-on training. And when they launched the learning management system, all this hosting of online training came at just the perfect time when you fast forward to 2020.
Hey, Carm here, and coming up, find out what Chuck thinks is a great employee retention tool. Hey, it's Carm here with news about the new NAPA Smart Sign, previously known as the digital menu board. I like to think of it like a silent salesman on a TV near your service desk. It's an easy way for you to increase customer awareness of your current promotions and educate them about needed repairs and service. In other words, having a NAPA Smart Sign will supercharge your sales. NAPA Auto Care tests have shown 1 out of 5 consumers ask for a repair or service they've seen on the board. And targeted promotions resulted in double-digit increases. One auto care shop owner said, "I've received amazing feedback. Customers are actually asking for additional services they see on the screen." Now that's what I call getting results. You choose the content for your NAPA Smart Sign from a library of auto care services and repair topics. The Smart Sign comes with preloaded content. Just about anything you can think of is available, from alternators and alignment to wiper blades and wheel bearings. There are over 150 topics to choose from. Templates can be customized with your location branding for a professional look. Some of the options include customer reviews from Kukui, Demand Force, or MechanicNet, live news, and even the weather. Whatever content you choose, it's preloaded for you. Just as important, it's easy to change your services, prices, and video content anytime you'd like. Plus, the latest NAPA national promotions are downloaded to you automatically. Of course, having a NAPA Smart Sign gives your auto care center a professional, state-of-the-art look and feel that tells customers, "I'm on top of my game." Now, that builds trust, which means recommendations are accepted more readily and customers spend more. Find out more about what NAPA Smart Sign can do for your business. Talk with your servicing NAPA store owner to find out more about the Smart Sign and all the other reasons to become part of the NAPA Auto Care family, the largest network of independent repair shops in the country. You still excited about getting up to come to work every day? And, what are you going to do next week to make it fun and different and exciting for your membership?
So getting up and getting to work every day is actually kind of funny. I do actually, dress for work. That does help.
If you're not watching the video of this, Chuck has that typical navy blue and powder blue shirt, navy blue blazer, powder blue shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting dressed for work is definitely a boon. It helps kind of clear the mind, get you focused on what is coming for the day. So, what's happening as far as next week? What are we doing to make it new and exciting? Right now, I think building our visibility over on the service side is probably my top priority. So reaching out, touching bases with the contacts that I've had in the industry and making new ones too. One thing about automotive, be it collision or mechanical, is it's a big little world. At some point in time, you've crossed paths with probably almost everyone in the industry. So it's just a matter of reaching back out and saying, "Hey, here's where I am now. Here's what we're about. How can I help you?"
How are you going to find new blood, new trainers to come in and work with you?
Part of that comes with sort of the prestige of AMI. Again, we're solid in collision. So I've got to work the other side of the coin, if you will, and work on the service side. As a trainer, as a contract hired gun, you're looking for people to feature your training. If I put on my sales hat, I don't think that's too tough. That's not a hard sell. Here we are. We have an audience of over 100,000. When you look at people that have passed through our learning management system, why wouldn't you want to put your training up there?
Absolutely true. And there's an awful lot of great trainers. In fact, what I love about our industry is there's new coaches, and there's new consultants, there's new trainers entering all the time. There are shop owners that have realized that their calling is coaching, their calling is training in certain ways, and they're moving in that direction. And if you're listening to this, you got to contact Chuck at AMI and, put your hand up. Again, I don't know the hierarchy, but is there a place on your site where a trainer could go to, look at the qualifications and look to submit something?
There's a contact us link on the website, myami.com. I don't want to sound too infomercially, but head to the website and hit contact us. And my email address is there. I believe my phone number too, if I'm not mistaken. So give it a ring.
Well, for AMI, we can do as much info as we can because it really totally benefits the industry. This is, you're kind of, if you will, a very big, important, but neutral player. And I'm all about promoting AMI in the learning management system, which I think was, again, a very good move that Jeff and the board decided on. And you come in and you've got this strength system behind you. If I was a shop owner and I wanted to put my key management leaders that, I'm building my business around them either for potential succession or growth, I can see that resume and the classes that are being passed. Finding an ROI, a return on my investment, is kind of where I'm going and how I'm thinking. So if I had 4 or 5 people that I wanted to be sure were taking the classes that, well, show me the classes you'd like to see, but also these are the ones that I want you to see, how we can pull all that together.
When you go in and you actually select a designation, so let's say you want to work towards your accredited automotive manager, your AAM, certification. You can choose either collision or mechanical, so service side or collision side. And then there are a list of core competencies and classes that fall into that realm. But there's also a large number of electives that you can choose to take. If you're just in it to literally take the classes that you want to improve yourself, because remember, leadership, it's a skill, right? It's you can learn it. It's not something you have to be born with. You can hop in there and you can take some classes that your boss deems are necessary, and away you go. There are a couple of different ways you can do that too. You can either pay by course or you can have a yearly subscription. And with a yearly subscription, you can take pretty much anything you want that year.
I think the AAM and the AM, the master side of that thing, is really prestigious. Do you find leaders in our industry putting the comma AAM after their name?
Indeed. I'll rewind to the conversation that I had with the hiring committee, and it's good for a chuckle because I think I thought at the time I might have shot myself in the foot, but they said AMI, and I went, what? Who are these people? And what is an AM? But after I dug in, sort of figured out what AMI was and started working through the designations, I'm like, well, this is strong. And then I started noticing the titles. And funny enough, when you're talking to people in the industry, when they have that comma, AM, they're usually a pretty powerful player, and they're smart. I've not experienced a conversation yet where I've talked to someone that has that designation that's a dummy.
I have a certification designation from the University of the Aftermarket, AAP, Automotive Aftermarket Professional, and of course, it took some time and effort and money to do it and get through it. And I got it a little later in my life than normal because I kind of forgot about it. And then I went in and finished up my courses. And I'm pretty darn proud to put comma AAP after my name, which is what I love about where AMI sits in the industry. Now, listen, the world's your oyster here. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people, of 100,000 have been through AMI that you mentioned. How many have AAMs? I bet you it's not everyone.
No.
So maybe this podcast, this interview with you, welcoming you to the industry, can fire up the people that they've got X amount of points or however the system works, credits to get. And let's put a challenge out to the people that are maybe halfway there to get all the way there.
you'll find when you go in and look at the certifications that they're structured very much like a college degree. So certifications are 60 to 80 credits. And then when you get into the AAM, the Accredited Automotive Manager, they're 120 credits. So you have around 60 core credits and then 60 electives. So those electives can come from podcasts like these, if there's a quiz attached to them, or factory training, or even seminars that you attend at a trade show or something like that. Many of those things have an AMI approval stamp on them, and you just upload your proof of attendance.
Well, thank you guys so much. I do have a few podcasts up on AMI for credit, and it was great. And there's going to be more coming. We're going to hopefully stack the deck and get some of those out there. You had mentioned you worked in Alaska, but you were born there.
Correct. Yep. Born in Fairbanks.
There's a whole ton of us that probably would love to go to Alaska. What's Alaska like?
Very cold. I know that's incredibly cliche, but so I was born in Fairbanks, which is kind of if you will, the middle of the state. It's the second largest city after Anchorage, and at the time, I think when we were up there were 80,000 people in the Fairbanks North Star borough, and that's larger than the size of Rhode Island. So just to give you an idea of how spread out things really are. My father was an educator and later an administrator, and that was the North Slope Borough School District. So that's up above the Arctic Circle, places like Point Hope, Anaktuvuk Pass, Barrow up there. So even my youngest memories, Dad was a principal, not a teacher, and then later an administrator up in Barrow. That's eventually when he threw in the towel. He said, I'm in administration. My heart is really in teaching, not in this, and I'm done.
How do you look at going from OE and all the work you did there and find this transition? And I'm sure you're going to be really good at it, but now, getting a taste and a flavor in just a very few months of the automotive aftermarket. Can you draw any parallels?
People are people, right? So coming from an OE background, when you get into corporate, your bosses want it and they want it right now. That's the expectation, or they want it 5 minutes ago, actually. Not right now. It's 5 minutes ago. So you're always driving. You're always pushing hard. And that's the way business goes, right? But taking a step into the aftermarket, I would say things are a little more laid back, but people are still people, right? We all have the same expectations. We all want to be treated fairly. We all want to have a good conversation with someone and not get stomped on or turn into a massive, debate. It's been pleasant, to be honest with you. And the people have been so kind and so accepting. It's amazing.
But a parallel to the fact that, let's just say this, and maybe you can't answer this, and maybe you can, Chuck, the way the consumers have a certain feel and a flavor for a dealership, but yet the aftermarket does 70% of the, after warranty work. In this very short amount of time, have you come to respect what the aftermarket's all about?
Well, as a technician, I had aftermarket ties aplenty, right? Because you have friends that work on cars. You go to ASE testing at the same time. You hang out at the same bars. You do all those things. So I've always had a healthy respect for the aftermarket and actually still have some very, very good friends that are either technicians or even shop owners now that have branched out on their own because let's be honest, people rarely stay in the same place for 30 years anymore. They'll try this for a bit and say, oh, that was fun. Let me go try something a little bit different. Or when you're a technician, right? Toolboxes have wheels. That's professional development. You push that toolbox from one shop to the next for a raise.
Chuck, what would you say to the automotive aftermarket, and especially the mechanical side? Because, you did talk about, having an emphasis there about getting involved in AMI if they're not.
Probably the biggest thing with AMI and any training out there, to be honest with you, training is valuable for a variety of reasons. But just remember this, if you're a boss and you're out there, one, you can be better at what you do, right? You can always be better at what you do. And as you get better at what you do, that drives employee retention. Because when you look at surveys, it doesn't matter if it's aftermarket or OE, especially in the mechanical side, you'll find that the number one reason is always the boss, right? Technicians leave, service advisors leave. They leave because they don't like their boss or they don't get along with their boss. Now, if you're the boss offering training to someone else, offering training and having them take up on it, that drives employee retention as well. The more training, the more dollars you put into a person at your shop, at your store, the more likely they are to stay with you. And let's be honest, training, onboarding, everything costs money. It's an investment. If you have good people, invest in them, train up.
What I like about AMI, and first of all, I love everything that's going on inside of our industry. I mean, I think we're in a training mode like we've never been before. And I think we all discovered that because we had time on our hands to either invest in online training or to create online training. The really nice thing about AMI is that you can work toward an accreditation, where in many other cases, there's a lot of fabulous events out there. Now, some of them do offer AMI credit. So if I take a course at another event, and, you know, a lot of times people should ask, is this AMI accredited? Because that trainer may be one of your AMI trainers and is teaching the kind of class that you offer credit to. And I think that's important. AMI is extremely connected in our industry. And you should always look, no matter where you go, to see if you can get AMI credit for anything you invest in.
I agree. And that goes towards that elective credit. In any case, if it has an AMI stamp on it, you can get credit for it. And that goes towards a certification or accreditation.
So cool. Hey, would you come back as AMI continues to progress under your leadership and give us an update?
Carm, I would be honored.
Chuck Searles, the brand new president of AMI. So enjoy this. Welcome. We're proud to have you, and lots of success to you, man.
Thank you, Carm. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.